It was day 7, and still I had no sign of camp. Just been in this 5-mile cornfield, going in circles, until I came upon this fence. Then I had to look for the fence. Then I realized where I was. My old childhood town. So I rushed to Ted's house for the plus sign meetings that they have discussed over the weekend, and realized they were burning deer, which was in strict violation of the codes we had set. Then I had realized it was cows, and that was perfectly fine. And then, the horror. The realized G-Man, the creator of Gary's mod, I think, had been killed. Ripped his face clean off. This one's for you, buddy. Then I had approached inside of the house, knowing that I couldn't get in because it wouldn't let me! Because of the invisible door. We had loved that invisible door. It was the perfect security system. After I had seen what Johnson had been doing with his wife, killing her, I noticed the note they left on the wall. They needed food, so that means I had to go to Walmart and return these missing posters. They have it there sometimes. So when I left, I decided we need to get rid of the door, because I can't tell if we're leaving or not. The door is not there. So I decided to leave in hopes of finding Walmart without a map, because I haven't been to this town in 45 years. So I decided to start down the long road, and I noticed this car. It seemed familiar to me. It was my first car. In fact, I crashed it into this very fence and bailed because I didn't have insurance. Then I remembered why I crashed the car. These floating error signs. I had never seen anything like it before. So I just ran it to the wall without looking. And I remember this person's place. His name was Johnson. He too had an invisible door. He owned this shop. It used to sell good things here, like Tostitos off-brand and what appears to be some sort of salad dressing. At least we ain't in New York, was his favorite line. But I don't know why he picked up and just left. 45 years ago. In fact, this was his home. He cooked meals, did his tax returns, and wrote crap on the wall. And that's because he was living right next to the train tracks. And then it occurred to me I could take his craptacular car. It wasn't much, but it could get you where you want to go. So as I started off down the road, still in my Halloween costume from 2 years ago, I realized there are the arrows, the errors. But I wasn't paying attention that day, and I ran clean into the wall. Another fact would be that these gloves aren't really the best for driving. A good thing this piece of crap car knows how to take beating. So I came to the crossroads in my defective car that goes backwards. I noticed the sign. Dongar. I knew him from high school. He owed me money, so I decided to go find him and retrieve that $15 he owed me. As I entered Dongar's property, I noticed he left his tractor sitting out. Not a wise decision for Dongar, since he knew I like to steal tractors. But it was just this. The tractor was broken after running into this giant large thing that he used for watering crops. So I followed it for just a while, until I came to a shape of some sort. This wall that was built here in the colonial days to fight off the British invasion. This was weird because we're in California right now. We really didn't have to worry about the British. In fact, I don't even think any colonials were in California. That tour guide lied to me. Then after wandering through the cornfield for about 4.5 hours, I found my exit and decided to carry on since somebody had siphoned the gas out of my dune buggy machine. I mean, how hard can it be to walk nowadays? I had approached Dongar's property. He had a lot of cars, you see, but he never put gas in any of them. Each time he ran out of gas, he bought a new car, because he said it was cheaper this way. He was right. He was right to say this, and right to keep these explosives just lying out in the middle of nowhere. He had a lot of trouble with his pets dying. There was Fluffy and Snuffy and Philip, Mr. Tacos, Kitty Tums, Fluffy again, the second one, and his favorite parakeet, Polly. Oh wait, that was his goldfish. This is his parakeet over here. Jackson. I hated that bird so much. And here the gravestone mocked a horrible thing. A baby's face. Why do you need that on a gravestone? If anything, why would you need it on a gravestone? And as I approached his property, I had noticed he had listened to the most recent Black Sabbath album, number 13. He had apparently liked this song so much that he decided to spray paint it up in his house. I myself personally did not listen to the song, but now that I've considered it, I might look it up later on YouTube. Adam was hiding in the something room, and he wanted to see somebody later. I guess that's what that meant. Then I looked down at the piano and realized he was a good piano player. He used to sit in this room and laugh at his piano playing skills because he was actually pretty bad. In fact, I can't even remember if he knew how to play the piano. He just had one lying around in his house. Not even for a reason. He just, with the purple dirt and all that, just lying in his house. He had too much money on his hands, so he bought random houses and spray painted them the way he liked. Kept giant maps. I think this is a map. And the same posters he had stolen earlier from my niece's house, which I was just at, just more than a couple of hours ago. This was his favorite room in the house. Mainly because there was something green on the wall. Don't tell him I did that. Don't tell him. That was a kid next door with the baseballs. You know the one. Suddenly I figured out that he had been dead for 4 years. His body left in the streets. Dongar, the immigrant from Italy with too much money. And the thingy in his face. Okay, if anybody asked, that guy had it in him. Knowing Dongar's property fairly well, I came across a path that I knew led directly to Richardson Error Signs Emporium. Knowing that he'd been well out of business for 40 years for killing all of his previous workers, he had finally gone insane and hung up his signs all over his building. It was a sad day when he closed because he filled up the building with purple dirt. He liked the purple dirt. We didn't know why. He just said, "It's so purple." And he went mad. After realizing it was actually pink all along. He had killed himself because of it. And he couldn't live with the fact that he had called pink purple. This is where he's buried. In this pile of pink, pixelated garbage. He buried himself first, then blew his head off. That's how I think it went. be quite honest, I don't even think I lived in this town. I don't think I actually lived here. I mean, seriously. Well, I knew Dongar's house and all that, but what's this place? This is new. At that point, I saw a fire in the distance. I continued to go forth and found out it was an evacuation outpost. The place my cousin had told me about. And again, I saw a familiar sign. Burning cows. I had known it was my cousin's doing because the fire refused to move. He had a magical way of making this happen. So I knew deep inside he had lived here this whole time. Furnished it in boxes. And then it occurred to me, he needs to get rid of these freaking invisible doors. I mean, he has time. Look at all this. This here, that's like $40 boxes right there to just take bullets. I mean, he has money to get rid of the doors. I don't know why he does. And I realized I had seen this somewhere before. And this. But slightly different. He had been with Dongar the whole time, plotting against me, putting holes into ceilings. Why would you put holes into ceilings? Another sight was my old bedroom. Somehow he had picked it off of my house and stuck it onto this one. And put this hideous picture of somebody at a fountain. Why did he put that there? He knows I like pictures of oceans. And farming. I mean, he knows. He's gonna pay. This is no longer my house. After losing my hearing for a split second, I decided to check the closets. They were locked. The sneaky SOB had locked up my clothing into the buildings, knowing very well that I liked my Pink Floyd shirts. He had locked them in there in spite, along with my radio, VCR, and VCR DVD player. Now I knew I had to kill him. And again with his invisible doors. One problem was the invisible doors, the other was knowing that he would leave them open. This was his room. This psychopath. What do these pictures mean? What? What do they mean? It could mean anything. So I decided to go look after him and find the guy, because he needed to answer some questions. I needed to answer questions. I couldn't fit through the window. Curse my poor planning. After leaving his house and going adjacent to the barn, I noticed he had cows there. Dead cows. Why would he have cows here? He must have had a cow fetish, I thought to myself. Because why else would he have cows lying around everywhere on fire? At that moment I knew and realized I had to find him and end this horror once and for all. As I walked from his property to find him, I knew inside I'd... What is this? Oh, it's him! Oh, not for long it ain't. Alright, I see you. You owe me so much money. You're gonna pay for your sins. I missed. I missed entirely. Okay? I'm warning you. You listen here. Your terror has to end. Like right now. That moment I knew I had to kill him because he had a gun. So I had to do it. But then I realized he was immortal. Then I realized I'm the moderator of this side. I'm gonna clean up this mess. After the lag had settled, he was gone. As simple as that. My power was too great. So I walked home in the rain. Okay, no rain, I thought it was going to. And then I couldn't live with the fact that I killed him. So I did this. This is my story.
Dead!